Hello and good morning, good afternoon and a very good evening to you, the good on people of the tube. Hope all today we're feeling grand and all is well in your world. I am certainly not, as this guitar is probably one of the worst guitars I have ever come into contact with. Now, people of the tube, I don't like doing negative reviews. I don't like to badmouth certain things, but this one took the cake and still takes the biscuit. So, this guitar is a Grote L1 guitar. I didn't know anything about this company until very recently, and I thought, ooh, that looks really cool. I wonder what they're like. So I thought I'd get one for a review. So I bought this one. This one arrived, and immediately alarm bells started ringing. And I was just a bit like, really? They ain't cheap, people. People are cheap. These are £200 plus guitars, I believe. I mean, I don't know, what's the exact price on these things? Anyway, I thought this would be, a good quality Les Paul kind of guitar. Cheap guitar. But I was wrong. They are £240. This guitar is 240 quid of dead money, in my opinion. But like I say, this video is entitled, Did I Just Get a Bad One? Is this just a Friday afternoon guitar where somebody couldn't be bothered and they just slapdashed it together and went, yeah, that'll do? Because it's terrible in so many ways. Does the guitar sound good? Yes. Does it play well? Now it does. I'll talk about that in a sec. But there are certain problems inherent in this guitar that should not be problems in a £240 guitar. So when I got this guitar, people of tube, I took it out and I thought, nice. I mean, it does have a scratch plate. It's over here. I've took it off because it looks really cool without a scratch plate. Nice tobacco burst. It's in the teardrop shape. It looks amazing. The back has got this gorgeous kind of flame on the back as well. Check this out. In certain lights, you can see that. It's amazing. We've got mahogany body. I don't know what the... mahogany neck, sorry. I don't know what the body is. You've got a maple veneer, flame maple veneer top, which is very, very nice. Really lovely shaped neck. Good machine heads. Good pickups, good electronics. Good hardware. That's where it stops. This guitar, the pickups sound great. The soldering work and the wiring work is really, really good. The switch is good. Like I say, machine heads are good. The neck feels great. That's where it stops. This guitar is... when I got it, was unplayable. You couldn't play this thing. The action was that high. No word of a lie, people tube. It was about a centimetre high at the 12th fret. No word of a lie. It was about that high at the 12th fret. And what worried me the most was when I looked at the bridge to see how much room I had to bring it down, it was basically flush to the body. It was almost flat down. And I was like, well, that's not good. To have an action that high and you can only bring it down a little bit is not good. You want to be able to get those strings flat to the frets and be able to bring them up from there. Couldn't with this guitar. Bad, bad, bad. The alarm bells were ringing. The nut, the string height at the nut was unbearable. When you pressed down like a G chord, it didn't play in tune. No matter what you did, this guitar could be perfectly in tune. Because the nut was not cut at all, when you played like open chords, the guitar was just out of tune. It would not go in tune. It was a nightmare. It was a mess. Also, the nut doesn't even fit. The nut is too small in the... in its groove. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, PG, unfortunately, because the camera doesn't. It kind of blurs when I get things too close. But literally, there's like a millimetre gap on each side of the nut, and it's kind of quite sharp because you can kind of get into the binding there, and so that's not really good enough. The frets are appalling. They're dented. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, PG. If I get the guitar close to the camera, check this out. I don't know if you'll be able to hear that, but it's scraping indents. There's little indents on every single one. Not every single fret, but majority of frets. There's these little indents, like impact things. It's like where somebody's hit the guitar with the strings and the strings have dented into the frets. And that doesn't have to be addressed. There is sharp fret edges as well. It's kind of okay up until about the 9th to the 12th fret. And then once you get past the 12th fret, it's just sharp on this. Not good. The fretboard itself is stunning. It really is stunning. Look at the finish. Look how shiny that thing is. I have conditioned it, but it didn't really need it. All I did was just basically clean off any factory gunk that was there. But it did. That's exactly how it looked when it came. It's got this gorgeous figuring on the 4th fret. But I don't know if you'll be able to. You should be able to see that. I can just about see it on the LCD. It's this amazing bit of figuring, and it looks like rosewood, which is really nice. The inlays are really, really well done. Yeah, but there's major issues with this guitar. The neck is in wonky. The neck is actually off center. It's not flat. It's slightly off, and you can see that. I can't show you down the neck. You won't be able to see that, unfortunately. But I can show you the neck heel, Pikachu. If you look at this neck heel here, it's not flat. What happens is it falls away towards the high E. So the low E kind of is here, and then the high E is that down there. And I should be able to show you that. You should be able to see that there, hopefully. And maybe if I get it in the light, you might be able to see that. If I kind of get it, where is it? I'm trying to find a diffuser light here. I don't know if you're able to see that, but it's uneven. And basically they've put the neck in slanted, and it's just all ski whiff and off to one side, which is not good enough. For a 240 quid guitar, that's just not good enough. If this guitar was 50 quid, I would expect it. It's £240, that is not good enough. So, I decided I want to see, because I wanted to know if anything could be done. I had this exact same thing with a vintage Les Paul I bought in 2020. I got a gold top Les Paul from vintage, and it was terrible. In all fairness, this guitar's on par with that one, but at least I could get that one. I'll talk a bit in a sec about that, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. But at least, and it came and I had to finish it. That guitar was unfinished, and I eventually gave it to my friend Bob. But this guitar was along the same lines as that. It was unplayable, and there was bits that were unfinished. So I was like, well, let's have a look. I didn't want to send it back. I wanted to know. Because if these guitars are coming out of the factory like this, I thought maybe if somebody gets one of these and they fall in love with it when they take it out of the box, but it isn't right, maybe like this video could help them see what needs to be done. So I set about trying to make this guitar work and right. Like I said, I didn't have to touch the electrics. They were spot on. The soldering is spot on. The finish is spot on. The fit and finish is spot on to a point. The machine heads are all wonky donkey. They're not actually straight. I don't know whoever put these machine heads on and drilled the holes in his headstock didn't know how to use a ruler. And I've had cheaper guitars than this with better quality. I'm a bit angry. You could probably tell, Pikachu. I'm a bit angry at this. This is just not good enough. Not good enough at all. And I never heard of Grote guitars, and maybe that's the reason. Anyway, so I was like, right, well, what needs to be done? So I need to cut the fret, the nut slot. I need to lower the action. I need to check the intonation, and I need to do something about the frets. And I also need to get the horrible, awful strings this guitar came with off and get some decent ones on. So I restrung it. First thing was I restrung it. I cleaned the neck, and also what I did is I took some fret polishing rubbers to the frets to try and even them out a bit, which it did to an extent. It shined them up. It made them way nicer. They weren't as scratchy. But the divots, I can't get them out. I'd have to get them out by fret leveling it. And at this point in time, I'm not willing to do that, and I'll explain a bit more why I'm not going any further with this guitar in a minute. So I polished them up. Realised I couldn't get rid of the divots, but I was like, well, they'll play out eventually. Some aren't that bad, but then it's not great, though, people. It's not great. Basically, there's been no fine sanding on these frets whatsoever. It's just appalling workmanship. Appalling workmanship. Anyway, got new strings on it, and it started to ring. The old strings were dead as a donut. They were just terrible. And I was like, there's something in here. This guitar wants to be a guitar. It wants to be a guitar. It wants to breathe. It wants to live. So got the new strings on, and I went about cutting the nut slots because they had not been done. Like I say, when you played a G chord or a C chord, it was out of tune and it was hard to press down the strings because they were that high. It was just stupid. The strings were just resting on top of the nut. It was awful. So cut the nut slots down to where they should be, and immediately it was like, oh, this feels great to play on all of a sudden. So I was like, yeah. Lower the bridge. Bring the bridge down as low as I could without it fretting out. And it started to sing. It started to become a guitar. It started to become what it wants to be. You can feel it in this thing. It's really heartbreaking. It wants to be. It wants to be. And I was like, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. You know, and then I plugged it in properly for the first time properly. And my God, did it sound good. And this is where the positives come in, PeopleTube. These pickups, whatever they are, sound great. This thing sounds amazing. It sounds really good. Unfortunately, I can't intonate it. Whoever did this guitar put this bridge in wrong. And the scale length doesn't match. I've checked it again. Struggled through, measured, remeasured. The bridge is wrong. It needs moving forward at least a good 3 millimeters. You know, it needs bringing forward. I managed to get the G, B, and high E intonated, but the D, G, D, A, and E strings, they will not intonate at all. The saddles, I've tried everywhere. Because I know, you know, I was wondering if there was another intonation spot. There isn't. Back from here is just flat. So I've bought the saddles all the way forward and it just will not intonate. So, what that means, basically, is it plays fine on the E, A, and D up to the 12th fret. But after you get past the 12th fret, G chord, not 100% in tune, but pretty good. So that's a G chord up there. This is a G chord past the 12th. And there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I can do. I cannot intonate the guitar. And when you're playing along to, say, a backing track that you make on this guitar, the moment you go past the 12th fret, it's over. It's over. Apart from a G, B, and E. As long as you stick to those strings, it's fine. But that isn't good enough. You want to be able to use all the frets, all the strings. And I've struggled with it for hours trying to get the thing intonated, and it will not intonate. So, upset? Very. Feel ripped off? Very. But, is that the end of this guitar? No. This thing wants to be a guitar. It wants to be a guitar. It doesn't want to get sent back to a factory for them to chuck it in the bin and have done with it. And I can't do that. It feels wrong. Because this thing sings. It really does sing. It sounds amazing. It really does sound good. But it's just unforgivable to send a guitar out in the condition this was in. Especially a guitar that a beginner is going to buy. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a beginner is going to see this guitar. It's in price range. 240 quid's a good price. They're going to buy it. And then not be able to play the bloody thing. And it's going to get sent back. And then, they're never going to buy this thing again. I don't know what else going on. Like I say, I don't know if this is just a bad one. So, question is, people of YouTube, comes out to you. Has anyone else experienced these guitars? The Grote L1. How many Grotes? One of these. Has anyone got one? Has anyone played one? And were your experiences good? Because mine is bad. But there's so much that could be done with this guitar. You know, it wants to be a guitar, simple as that. But it's just, it can't be because of how some cack-handed idiot has made it. You know, things have been put in the wrong place. It's rough around the edges. Its main guts and look are perfect. The lacquer is amazing. The fit and finish is amazing, apart from the neck being in wrong. There's just, the problem is you can't intonate it, and that is, if you can't intonate a guitar, it's tough, you know. And I don't mind guitars being slightly out with their intonation, but this isn't slightly out. This is miles out on the E, A, and D. You know, past that 12th fret, it's a no man's land. You do not go there. I don't mind it being slightly out. Some of my guitars are slightly out intonation-wise, and that's fine because you can't tell. Intonation is relative anyway. But when it's this far out, you can't use it. You can't. And this is just not good enough. Like I said, I've played guitars cheaper than this that work and are amazing. You know, my East Coast L1 is just sat over there in the guitar rack, and that's perfect. I've never once had to adjust the intonation on that because when I got it, it was perfect. You know, I've done nothing to that guitar other than make the pickup covers gold, but I've done nothing to that guitar. I want to change the pickup covers to be pickup surrounds to big ones, but that's just a personal preference thing. I've had to do nothing to that. Whereas with this, I had to lower the thing. I had to cut the nut and try and sort the frets out. And all these things are not something you want from a guitar, especially if it's your first guitar. You know, you want it to be playable out the box. And this seems to be becoming a running thing, people with tube, is I find with a lot of guitars these days is no one's taking any time at these factories to set these bloody things up playable. They just slap strings on it and throw it out the door and go, yeah, that'll do. Fender and Gibson are included in that. PRS are included in that. I've played lots of guitars where I'm just like, really? Really? You know, it shouldn't be. You know, the setup is the most important part of the guitar. If it doesn't play right, what's the point? And this guitar just isn't right. But it wants to be so badly, which is why it's here and hasn't been sent back, because there's got to be something I can do, and I know what to do. So what I'm going to attempt to do is we're going to get this thing going. We're going to get it. We're going to get the bridge moved. We're going to get it with a better nut. We're going to sort it out, and we're going to get it playing. Because it wants to be a guitar, and I want it to be a guitar. So we're going to work on this one, Pure Tube. And this isn't the last video you'll see on this. But we're going to get it right. We're going to get it sorted. Because it wants to be a guitar, and it's going to be a guitar. And if I have to finish where the factory couldn't be bothered to, then I'm going to do that. I know there's a lot of people who are saying, oh, you should just send it back, get your money back, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, yeah, but it's not about that. It's about this. It's about this wanting to be an instrument. And yeah, for all I know, this could become somebody's main guitar. This could, a beginner could see this guitar and go, you know, I want to play it, I want that guitar, and it could inspire them to be the next Jimi Hendrix. You know what I mean? Because I won't be keeping this guitar. Once it's fixed and ready to go, I'm gonna get rid of it because I've disconnected. You know, I'm disconnected from this guitar. It happened with that vintage gold top. And I will be getting rid of it because I just can't. So I'm going to sort the frets out. I'm going to try and sort the nut out. And I'm going to get a friend of mine to move the bridge so we can actually intonate the bloody thing. Because that might be a bit beyond my skill ability. Or I might try. What do you reckon, people tube? But anyway, did I just get a bad one? Is that the question? You know, people with tube, let me know if you have one or if you tried one of these guitars. What's your experience? And if you haven't tried one, you know, if you see one in the shop, pick it up and let me know. I really want to know whether I just got a really naff guitar. But the point of this video is that if it's naff, it can be brought back to life. So this is like a part one, if you will. We can fix this guitar. We can fix it. We can make it good. And I intend to, because it wants to. And it rings, man. It sings. It really... I mean, it's not in tune properly right now because I've just been messing around with it, but... It sings and it rings and it just wants to be. So I can't let it go to the dogs. You know, I can't. It's not in me to be able to do that kind of thing. The same thing happened with the vintage Gold Top is I couldn't let that guitar just go back. I have to do something about. I have to fix it. I have to make it work. I have to make it work. It's not. I don't want my money back. I want the guitar to live. That's more important to me. So that's what I'm going to do with this one, POTT. I'm going to sort the frets out. I'm going to get, like I say, I might attempt to do the bridge myself. I might mod it. I don't know what I'm going to do to this thing now. This is basically, at this point, a blank canvas for me to go, what can I do to it? And if it all goes wrong, it all goes wrong. But you're never too far away from it being perfect. You know, it can be this close to being wrong, but it can be that close to being right. And it's only little things it needs doing to it before it's great, you know. So we're going to work on it. We're going to get it going. And it's going to be a guitar. And it's going to be a good guitar. Will it be a great guitar? I don't know yet. It's too early to say. But we're going to work with this one, POTT. This isn't going anywhere. This isn't going back. This isn't going anywhere until I am happy. It's the best it can be. The neck angle, there's not much I can do about that. Looking down the guitar, you can really see it. But I'm going to get some opinions on it from local luthiers and some friends. But I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on this guitar. And I know a lot of people are probably screaming at this screen now going, "You're an idiot, why are you doing this?" And I'm like, because it wants to be. You know, you can't give up on something just because, you know, just because it's got some faults. When something feels like this guitar feels, I can feel it in it. Just having my hands on it, I can feel it. When it wants to be, it's worth pursuing it. It really is worth pursuing it. And we'll just see what happens. We'll see what the future brings. I'm gonna get some second opinions. I'm gonna see what we can do. And let's make it a good guitar. Instead of just being a bin piece, let's figure it out. So this isn't the last video you've seen on the Grote L1 POTT. And again, I can't even play it today because, like I say, the intonation's so far out. It's just wonky. But again, it does sound good acoustically. You can hear, I mean, I do apologise for it being out of tune, but and it vibrates. You can feel it moving. It breathes. It didn't when I got it, I'll tell you that. When I first played it, it was dead as a doornail. But I can feel it. I can feel it wants to live. So we're going to make it live. So, there we go, POTT. I know it might be a fool's errand, but I'd rather it be a fool's errand than just to give up on something. I can't give up on guitars. I just can't. I have to. When they feel like this, they have to live. I've had guitars in the past where I'm like, nah, there's nothing there. Let it go. And it just goes, and that's fine. I don't feel bad about that. But when it feels like this, and there's something in there, I can't let it die. I can't just let it go and just be a wreck. I'm not giving up on it. We're gonna make it work. So anyway, POTT, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and also, if you can answer my question, did I just get a bad one? Let me know in the comment section below. The neck on this thing is to die for, though. It feels so great. It really does. It feels so gross. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, people of the tube. Am I being an idiot? Is this a fool's errand? I don't feel like it personally, which is why I'm pursuing it. But yeah, let me know what you thought in the comment section below. And I will see you again very soon for another video. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Yeah, if you like the videos I do on this channel, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. Links to that are down in the description box, as well as link to my Bandcamp. Other than that, POTT, hope you enjoyed this video. I hope there was something in there. But again, I've had a lot of guitars come from my hands, and this is one of the worst. When I took it out of the case, I was like, took it out of the box. Didn't come with a case. I was just a bit like, really? But then restringing it and sorting certain bits out of it, and you start to go, hang on a minute. There's something in here. There's something in this guitar. And it might not even be for me. I might be doing all this work for somebody else. And if that's the case, then that's worth it, in my personal opinion. If when I get rid of this guitar, it goes to somebody and they just love it, and it becomes their guitar to inspires them to write and play, then all the work that has to be done to it will be worth it. Anyway, I'm going to get off. Hope you enjoyed this vid, POTT. I'll see you again very soon for another one. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. It pains me to do negative videos, but again, it will have a happy ending. I will be sure of it. If it doesn't have a happy ending, I'm just going to cry on camera. But this will have a happy ending. I'm determined. So yeah, I know some people will probably think I'm being an idiot, but that's okay. Yeah, this is my stupidity, if you will. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this vid. See you again, PeopleTube. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Goodbye now.